Hello and welcome to Banfield. Ukraine's president calls it an atrocity. The Red Cross calls it apocalyptic. By any name, the Russian airstrikes that obliterated a hospital for pregnant mothers, as well as newborns and children in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol. Well, this certainly constitutes a new low for this war, but maybe sadly not for the man who started it. The man who wants innocent civilians to pay for the skills and the resolve of Ukraine's military. Officially, 17 people were hurt in this attack, but amazingly, no one confirmed dead yet. But it's also believed that patients, including children, are buried in the rubble beneath that hospital, yet to be found. And as if this weren't despicable enough, this very city is one of several that were supposed to be under ceasefire today to allow civilians to flee. Asked to explain himself, Vladimir Putin's spokesman said only this, quote, "Russian forces do not fire on civilian targets." So there. Tonight, Poland, a NATO country on Ukraine's very doorstep, is pushing to send its neighbor a fleet of Soviet-era MiG-29 fighter jets, 24, or maybe even more. But the Pentagon says it can't get involved in something like that. With more on that and the ongoing Russian onslaught, I want to bring in my NewsNation colleague, Robert Sherman, who's standing by live in Lviv. Robert, is there any more updates to that hospital in Lviv? It's unconscionable to think that pregnant mothers, newborns, and little kids in a pediatric ward were targeted. Do we know if they found any bodies?
Not yet. We know that there are investigations that are continuing to take place over at that hospital, and we know that third parties are going to be confirming some of the casualty numbers. What has changed since this afternoon is the number of condemnations of this attack that have come in, whether that's the White House calling this barbaric, whether this is the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson coming in and condemning the actions that have been seen here. It is worth remembering here is that the images of war, we've seen them all throughout the country, and some of them have been utterly horrendous. These are some of the most horrendous that we've seen come out of this war so far, out of Mariupol. And people are seeing this all across social media, all across Facebook. So it has definitely been pervasive, and it has a widespread impact here. What I can tell you this, Ashleigh, is that we speak with a lot of Ukrainians, and I think that there's this speculation that people here in Ukraine would be dissuaded and scared by seeing something like this and want the conflict to just end. It's quite the opposite. Just about every time that we see a horrendous image come out, we speak with these Ukrainian people and they look us in the eyes and they say, Russia must pay for this. That's their perspective. And that continues to be the case here when you see incidents such as this. It definitely continues to perpetuate this notion here in Ukraine that the Ukrainians intend to fight until the very end. They don't intend to give up. They don't intend to surrender their country or their sovereignty easily. And this just fuels that fire.
Well, here's what the chief of Ukraine's armed forces did today, posted this, addressing us in the West, saying, atrocity. How much longer will the world be an accomplice to ignoring terror? Close the sky right now. Stop the killings. You have power, but you seem to be losing humanity. So, couple that with the decision by the United States government amid images like this. At the same time, these were all over the news earlier today. U.S. officials were saying, no, we cannot be a party to sending fighter jets from Poland to Germany and then into Ukraine. How is that landing with the Ukrainians?
Well, so I think that there's a distinction in words to be used here. I think that the Ukrainians acknowledge that complication when it comes to diplomacy. They acknowledge that Russia is a serious threat. They acknowledge that the United States and the West does not want to go to war with Russia. That doesn't mean the Ukrainians here understand why the United States and why NATO is making this decision. The perspective on the ground here is that the Ukrainians have been spilling blood ever since the founding of this country 30 years ago, 2014 being the consummate example. And a lot of Ukrainians here say that they've fought for their sovereignty. It's their sovereignty. It's their autonomy that's on the line here. Let me put it to you this way, Ashleigh. There is not a single Ukrainian that we can find who says that they're prepared to sacrifice their autonomy and their independence for the sake of world order and for the sake of appeasement. There's not a single Ukrainian that we've met that views the situation that way. They want to fight. They want to continue doing this, and they want the United States' help. They want NATO's help. But the NATO and the United States have made it clear they do not want to get physically involved in this conflict, to have a direct confrontation with Russia. To this point, they have not budged from that.
So among the people that you talk to every day where you are, they're seeing these horrendous images, I'm sure. They know about hospitals being bombed. They see those missiles going straight down the street, killing a family of 4. It was on the front page of the New York Times. The reporter even saw it. These images of twisted, burned cars, the detritus of horror. Are there more fleeing? Are there more trying to get out, even though they know these, humanitarian corridors are baloney? They don't exist. They fire on them regardless of whether they're promised safety to escape.
We have seen that. I mean, the latest number that was pegged today was about 35,000 people were able to take advantage of those humanitarian corridors during the span that they were open. So some are getting out. What we've seen over here in Lviv is you just see these long lines of people over at the train station. People are waiting 6, 8, 10 hours in order to try and hop on a train and get out of the country. So people are trying their absolute best to get out. It's not easy. It's simply not. There's such a demand here in order to get out of the country, to get out of some of these cities. And there's a lot of people, if you're in Kyiv, if you're in Kharkiv, if you're in Mariupol especially, it's understandable why one would be distrusting of the humanitarian corridors, because we have seen, and of course, there's finger pointing going both ways. Both sides are claiming that the other has violated it. The reality is that the humanitarian corridors have been violated multiple times over the last couple of days.
Hard to trust it.
If you're an everyday citizen, hard to trust it.
Yeah. Robert Sherman, stay safe, be careful, you and your crew, and thank you for doing this work. We really appreciate you being there.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.